there everyone, it's Kathy and you're back here on my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. If any of you joined me yesterday, which was Wednesday, July the 27th, for my live at 11 a.m., you saw me make this card. And I also had pieces cut. Now this card is going to go in the mail. I'm waiting. I just sent a message to Rita for an address. I thought I had her address, but I didn't. So as soon as I receive that address, which probably by the time you see this, I'll probably have this already gone in the mail. But that card is going to her because she won it. But Susan won the one that we had not finished. So I have her envelope right here, and I'm ready to go ahead and put this together. So let me... Okay, I'm just double checking to make sure that I didn't have anything urgent that I need to take care of. But I have all my pieces cut for this card, and what the technique that I taught was how to heat emboss on one side of your vellum and stamp using your inks on the other side. And that way, normally when you stamp with a regular ink pad on vellum, you rub it with your hand and it smears. But I kind of figured out a way that you can do that, where you can do some heat embossing on one side and stamping on the other, and then when you put it down against a piece of paper, you're not going to be rubbing on the side that the ink is on, but rather the top side will have the heat embossing. So we're going to do that again with this card, and I'm just going to go over my pieces really quick. I have a polished pink card base that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and all of these measurements are going to be on the blog. I have a mat. These are going to be the same measurements from the card from yesterday, and I have a mat, and this mat is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have another mat that is 3 3/4 by 5. And then we have our piece of designer series paper, and this piece is cut at 4 3/4 by 3 3/8. And I'm trying to decide if I want to do the polka dot side up or if I want to do the plaid side. I think I'm going to go with the plaid, but I don't know, because I want to use this stamp set, Graceful Tiles, and I'm thinking maybe this polka dot might play better into the role of what I'm doing. Now I cut my piece of vellum, and the vellum, again, like I said, everything's going to be on the blog, but this is 4.5 by 3. And then we have a frame that we cut, and the dimensions for that's going to be in there. I don't have everything right here to give you those measurements, but it is on the blog. So the frame is the same size as the one I did for this card, and you can see this was the frame I did for this one. So very same size. The only difference is, as I put this frame after I cut it in an embossing folder and ran it through my die emboss. Let me see if I can get it right. Stampin', Cut, and Emboss machine. There we go. That's a mouthful. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is I want to pull this vellum piece out, because I really want to do my stamping on it first. So we're going to start out with one of these stamps, and I think I want to do my heat embossing, and we're going to do that on white with white embossing powder. So let me gather up my embossing materials, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I have gathered my Versamark ink, which this is a watermark ink. I have my white embossing powder. I have my 2 stamps that I want to use placed on blocks. I have my Stampin' Pierce mat with a piece of copy paper, so if I stamp off, I won't get it on my mat. And I have my... I do now, my Embossing Buddy for the anti-static to prep my piece of vellum with. Anytime you're doing heat embossing, you really do need to use some kind of embossing tool like this. The Embossing Buddy, and they come in a lot of different things, but it's an anti-static type material or powder in there, and it just keeps the anything from sticking where you didn't want it to stick. So the only place we want anything to stick to this piece is where we put the ink down. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my Versamark ink. Let's move this over here. I'm going to move that down, making sure y'all can still see it. I'm going to go ahead and ink up. Now this one, I only want to do it right in the very center of my vellum. So I'm going to straighten that up as best I can, and I'm going to try to get this right in the center, something like that. Give it a good press because I want a really good print of this on my paper. And yep, that looks really pretty. So now I'm going to grab this one, and this is like almost like a little fan. So what I want to do is I want to put the corner of the stem in each corner, and I'm going to do that in all 4 corners. So the first one I'm going to do right here. And that looks pretty. And then we're going to do one right over here in this corner. And up. And then one more time. Right down in this corner. And then we're going to do one more up in the top left-hand corner. Just like that. Now we can go ahead and put our lid back on our ink. And I am going to pick this up with my tweezers, and I'm going to grab it right in a place where I don't have any of that. Can you see the if I hit, there we go, right there in the light you can see how pretty that looks. So I'm going to move this over to the side, and I'm going to bring over my embossing powder, and I'm going to take my spoon. I found this to be the easiest way to do my embossing. I like having enough of the embossing powder. Now this is a lot more than 1 container of embossing powder, but I do a lot of embossing with, you know, having my YouTube channel, so it was feasible for me to do this. Maybe not so much if you don't do a lot of heat embossing. Probably one of the little things of embossing powder would work great for you. Okay, see how pretty that is? We're going to heat set that. So let's go ahead and close that up. And I am going to use my larger brush, just making sure I'm getting that embossing powder off of my work surface, because the last thing I want to do is melt that onto my surface. I'm going to bring my little board out here, and I'm just going to use this and lay it like that as I heat up my tool. So now I'm going to heat this up. It's going to make a little noise, but I need to preheat it. And this is my heat gun. So I'm going to let that heat up just a little bit. Now vellum is going to take a little bit longer to heat set, as y'all saw in yesterday's video. And if you didn't watch yesterday's video, go back and take a peek at it. Now I'm just going to start going in round circles all over this. Just let it heat up. And you'll be able to see when it starts changing. I'm going to go from underneath and on top. And once it starts getting shiny, it will turn a very pretty white shiny look on this vellum. Once it starts setting. Oh, there we go. There's the magic. Y'all seeing that in that one corner? So again, I'm just going to go back and forth, making sure that all of that powder gets heated. So I want all the gray to go away, and I want it to become very pretty and shiny. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Like I said yesterday, I think this Graceful Tiles is an overlooked stamp set. It is absolutely gorgeous, and you can do so much with it. Alright, I think we've gotten that heat set, and I'm going to heat it from the back just a little bit. And we can turn off our heat tool now. And now this is done. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to let that cool just for a minute because I want to be able to turn it over. It actually feels pretty cool already. So I think we got it. So we're going to do some stamping now on the underside. Let's bring our little mat back in here. And I think on this one I want to put some green. I just want a little bit of greenery to go around those. So I'm looking at this, and I don't know. The only thing that looks green on here would be this piece right here. And it's not really shaped the way I want it. So I'm going to actually go look into a different stamp set. But before I do that, let me pull that over. I'm going to bring out my Stampin' Scrub, and I am going to clean up. I probably need a little bit more water on that. And then we can scrub that and see how it's soaping up. That lets me know that my cleaner is still good on there. And that just gets all of that sticky ink off of my stamp, which I love. So just a nice little scrub. And now those stamps are all ready to go for next time, and I don't have to worry about those. Now let me look over here in my greenery. I'm going to actually go to okay, bear with me, I'll find the set in just a second. Forever Fern, I think we might find something in here, maybe even Framed Occasion. Okay, I've got Framed Occasions and I've got Forever Fern. And I'm thinking maybe that one might be more what I'm looking to use. So let's see how this would fit up in there. This is really, really what I had in mind. Because I want something that will kind of go in between, down around here, up through here, maybe up around there. I'm going to use this one. Now I've got my shiny side of my embossing, and put that down against your paper. Make sure to put your mat back under it because you're using a photopolymer stamp. I'm going to grab my Granny Apple Green. I think I want something bright. Not quite as bright as the Parakeet Party, but nevertheless still have a little bit of brightness to it so it looks really pretty. I'm going to put this stamp back over here, and I believe this is going to work. Okay, so let's just try this and see what we get. So I'm going to go like right there. Very pretty. I'm going to do one right here. I'm going to turn it, and I want one right about here. I think I want a little bit of it sticking over the edge right there. Maybe a little bit coming off of here. And let's do a tiny little bit right here. I'm going to turn it over and look at it. Oh, I love that. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm just going to clean that off right there for right this minute. Let's close our ink. And I'm going to turn this back over because I don't want to smudge that. You don't want to touch that ink right now because that ink on vellum will smudge. So I'm going to leave it sit there just for a minute while we go ahead and put the rest of our layers together on our card. And in order to do that, I think I'm just going to use some Stampin' Seal. And I am going to Just do some along the edges. Like that. And then I'm going to center this up as best I can. Like so. Then we're going to put this piece down and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to center it up. I think I might use my glue. Maybe I'll stand a little bit better chance to get this nice and straight. So let's go ahead and put this piece down. And I am going to put that right about there. Give it a good press. Now this is, oh, we need to put this one down. Sorry. This one is going to go right about like that. Now my question is here. Do we want to use the plaid side? And this is where I'll make that decision. I'm going to lay that on the plaid and see if it takes away from my design. Then we're going to turn it over and see if we like it better on the polka dot. I actually like it better with the polka dots. So I'm going to go with my own inclination, and that is to go with this. And I am going to put glue all over the edges of this. And let's set this right down here in the middle. Top to bottom, side to side. You just want to make sure you got the same amount on all four sides if you can. Now I think for this one I am going to run glue because we know we're going to frame it. So I'm going to go ahead and run glue along the edges. Just like so. And then I'm going to set this down into the middle of that polka dot piece. Something like that. Give that a nice press. And then the last but not least is going to be our frame that's going to frame that. Isn't that gorgeous? I am loving it. Okay, for this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take glue, and I'm going to run glue all along. Just like that, and then we're going to pick it up. And what I want to do is cover the polka dots and the edges of the vellum. So I'm going to press that down. I might even take a larger stamp block and just set it on top of that so that it adheres. Give it a good press. I'm going to let that set while I get my piece of white to go on the inside and decide what we're going to do for our sentiment. And I think for my sentiment, I'm going to grab a piece of Granny Apple Green. I'm digging in my scrap bin, y'all. And there is a scrap that will work perfect. And I'm trying to decide, do I want to punch a little punch of some sort out? Let's decide. let's go with this lovely label Pick-a-Punch, and I'm going to grab a stamp. Let's see which stamp we want to use, which sentiment. Sending love your way, that would be really cute on the front. What a year. Here's to another one just as great. Happy birthday. That would make a beautiful happy birthday card. Well, let's do that. Let's see how wide of a piece we're going to need for that. So this stamp is going to be right about an inch. So this is not going to work for this particular punch because you can't get a full inch, I don't believe, in there. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. We might be able to force it just a little bit. Oops. Set that right there. I'm just going to put this in, and I'm going to take it over to 1 inch. And we're going to slice it. And then let's see if we can get that in there. Oh yeah, the 1 inch will work. So I'm going to go ahead, before I go any further, I want this little scalloped punch right here. So I'm going to put it on that side, but I'm going to turn it over. So when I slide it up in here, that I can eyeball and see exactly that it's centered in there. And then I'm just going to punch. Pull it out, turn it over, put it back in, and again I'm going to get it in there where I know it's straight, eyeball it, punch it, and there is a cute little tag to put our sentiment on. So now this should fit on here perfectly. Maybe I should have cut it just a tiny bit longer. Okay, let's regroup that. I'm going to show you what happens if it's not quite long enough. Let's cut a piece off this way, and then we can make it as any length we want it to be. So I'm going to cut this down to 1 inch. And let's take it to about 3.5 inches. Then let's go ahead and stamp. I am going to stamp that in black. I want it to show really pretty, so let's go ahead and pick it up on this block. And I am going to ink this up. This is my mat. I'm going to put my mat back under it just to make sure that I'm going to get a nice little stamp on here. Very, very nice. I love that. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and cover my ink and get a little bit of this stuff off of my desk that I've got bukus of debris. Now we can come back in with this, and let's slide that in again. Make sure we got it centered. It looks good. Punch. Bring it out. Put it back in. Make sure it's centered, punch, and now that way we've got the perfect punch for what we want it for. And I think for this, I'm going to put it right here at the top. I think that's pretty. I don't want to cover up anything. We could do it right here. That would be kind of pretty. We could do it right here off of the side and we wouldn't mess up any of it. And I think I like it right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some mini dimensionals right here on the bottom. So let me grab my mini dimensionals. And I know I want them to go along that bottom edge. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to set that back on there and make sure. Let's see. Needs to go up to about like that for those to work. I'm not going to put anything up here. I think that's going to hold it just fine like that. I don't want to put glue on my vellum, that's why. And if we see we need a glue dot under there, I can always put a glue dot under there using my take your pick tool. So we'll try that and see how that works. I am going to put one more since we're holding it mostly with these. One more right there. Oh, that worked good. Now we have our sentiment, and all we need to do for the inside is put a white card base inside, and I thought I had one. Nope. I'm going to dig in my scraps, and that looks good. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, let's go ahead and cut this off at 4. So we'll cut this down to 4. And 4 by 5 1/4. And now we have a beautiful white base to go inside. Let's stamp on that first. Let's see what we got. I got some go-to greetings. Let's see if we can put a really pretty happy birthday inside. I like that big happy birthday, so I'm going to do that one right across the middle of the inside of the card. Just like that. And we're going to do that in polished pink, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. Don't you think it's going to be pretty? Let's see if we can get this lined up nice and straight. And polished pink. Alrighty, so now right here in the middle, I am going to put happy birthday. Oh, that gorgeous. And since I can, I am going to take this little flourish, and I am going to stamp it there. And here. And then just to add a little bit more pizzazz to our inside, I'm going to follow through using the Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to put maybe right there. And right here. Oh, so pretty. I am loving the way this card has come together. So this is going to go down inside. Let me cover up my inks. And Let's get a little bit of glue to go on the back of this. And then we'll glue this down, and this card will be ready for Miss Susan. Susan won this card yesterday, but we didn't have time to really go through the putting together of it. So I said whoever won the unmade card, I would record myself finishing it up, and then I would get it off into the mail. So this is going out. If my mail hasn't run today, it'll go today. If not, it'll go first thing tomorrow. Oh, so pretty. Oh, I'm loving it. I am loving it. So there we go. So y'all tell me what you think. I think this one turned out just as lovely as the other one. Just totally different, but yet the very same layout. So let's look at the two different cards. They're both done in polished pink and white. They both have some elements of green, but they're just totally different in just the fact of the different stamp sets. I used some roses on this one, and I used that beautiful flourish from the Graceful Tiles, and you know, I can't really say which one I like the best. I think they're both absolutely beautiful. So I really do hope that both of my recipients of these two cards are going to absolutely love them. So Susan, this one is coming to you, and Rita, this one is coming to you. So I'm going to get those in the mail, or in an envelope and into the mail ASAP. So be on the lookout, and I'm going to take a picture of this so I can put this one up on my blog post as well. And thank y'all so much for tuning in one more time and watching me create something gorgeous. I love making cards and beautiful paper products, so our projects, I should say. It is just a passion of mine. I love it, and I am so blessed that I have all of you that tune in to watch me do what I love to do. God bless and keep you, and as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is worthy. So until we craft again, know that you're loved, appreciated. Take care, and God bless. Bye-bye.